Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday afternoon. My name is Marina Poljak, and I am the event coordinator for the Windsor-Essex Regional Chamber of Commerce. We're going to just take a couple of minutes to let everybody settle in. And I'll go over a couple of things with you. So you'll have a screen up. I hope you can all see the slide I have. If you have any questions or feedback for the Chamber, please send them to info@windsoressex-chamber.org. For COVID-19 updates and helpful resources, please visit our website. We have a COVID tab specifically there for all of the information that's been coming to us over the last couple of weeks. And all of the resources we have available to our business community. We also update our social media platforms quite regularly, daily actually. So if you can follow us on social media, you'll be able to see what we have coming up, webinars, special announcements, and resources. And we also have previously recorded webinars on our YouTube channel. So you can find us, it's Windsor-Essex Regional Chamber of Commerce. So we'll give it another minute to let a couple more people in before I hand it off. Also, if you have any questions during this webinar, you are free to post them in the chat or Q&A section throughout the webinar. We will monitor those and address them. We can address them at the end or throughout, so we will be looking at them. And again, if there is something that comes up or you have a question that maybe wasn't addressed or you didn't ask during the webinar, please feel free to reach out to the Chamber or to our guest speaker and ask, and we'll make sure that those questions are brought forward and addressed. Okay, I think we'll give it one more minute. We have about 20 more people that should be coming on. Okay, I think at this time we'll go ahead with our webinar, and at this time I'm going to hand it over to our President and CEO, Rakesh Naidu.
Thanks, Marina, and good afternoon to everyone. Welcome. I hope that you and your family are doing well and are staying safe. If you've been with us before on the webinar series, you know that what we do is we identify topics that are of interest to you based on the inputs we receive from our members, from the business community, and we bring in subject matter experts so that you can get the best advice and you can benefit from this series. From the time that we met last, which was I think almost a week back, a lot has changed, as you know. Things change on a daily basis, especially when it comes to programming and support systems that is being offered through the various levels of government. And we've seen that there is more information now on CEBA, which is the Canadian Emergency Business Account. So it's now open. One can apply for that. There's news that has come out that CEWS, which is the Canadian Emergency Wage Subsidy Program, the portal will be open and one can apply for that, I think, on April 27th. So that's happening. There's more news coming in terms of support for small businesses. For those that have not been included through the eligibility criteria for CEBA, there is a program and support that's coming out through IRAP and through CFTC. So there's more information that has been shared by the federal government, and you can get all of this information on our website. if you go under to the Chamber's website under the COVID-19 updates and information page. So you'll get all that information in. And today, the Government of Canada, announced more support for students, which is very welcome. And there's also the summer jobs program, which is open for students, and there are a lot of small businesses that can actually benefit by employing students over the summer. And the application has been taken in, and more positions have been created. The government intends to create about 76,000 jobs for students. So, through this, I'm urging everyone that is looking at, jobs openings that students can fill, is an opportunity for you to take advantage of the Canada Summer Jobs Program and hire students and benefit them and benefit your organization as well through that. So more information on that will be released soon by the government, but that's a program that will be offered from June of this year and will continue till, I believe, February of 2021. So as I mentioned, a lot has changed, and it's been a difficult time for businesses. The concern that we keep hearing is that yes, these programs are good, but we are also increasing the overall debt level that companies have, and many small and medium-sized businesses are not comfortable with taking on that additional debt. So we're working with the different levels of government on that. As you know, the Chamber has been very active, very proactive in representing the needs and the concerns of the business community. And we are working on a daily basis. We are in touch with the various ministries, our network, which is the Ontario Chamber Network, the Canadian Chamber Network, and we are engaging with politicians, with decision makers on a daily basis. So we are here to represent you, be your voice, and take your concerns and inputs and make sure that they are being heard. So this pandemic has created a lot of challenges, and it's not the first one. There have been pandemics in the past, which have also been as disruptive. But what is different this time as compared to the pandemics of the past is that we live in a world where business is being transacted online quite a bit. Not just business, but interaction. Here we are talking to each other, seeing each other, online, which was not possible years back when we had the pandemic before. So with this, there is an opportunity for businesses to leverage the online tools that are available at this time. And actually, the companies that transition or they pivot to making use of these tools, be it the online tools for communication or online tools for selling your products through e-commerce or online tools to market yourselves, market your service and product, the companies that pivot in that direction or make use of technology will be the ones that will be much more stronger and come out through this faster and much better than the ones that don't transition or are not equipped to take advantage of the tools. And in many cases, those companies that are not embracing technology, unfortunately, will not be able to even come back. So what we thought we'd do is we would bring in experts here who could help you in identifying how do you leverage online tools? What do you do with digital presence? How do you market yourselves? What kind of marketing strategy should be put in place? So this is the reason why today's webinar has been organized. Extremely important time and a topic at this time for us to really pay attention to, because this could be the difference between us continuing to operate and unfortunately some of us who may have to shut down shop because we are not able to to move with the times and embrace technology and do everything that's possible for us to keep ourselves afloat. So we've got an expert amongst us right here in Windsor-Essex, Lorne Shantz. He's the founder and the big kahuna of Geeks, a very successful company that specializes in digital marketing, communication strategies, and so on. And they have been, a great corporate partner for the chamber. They are our affinity partner. We've had great relationship with them, and they have offered their product and services to the chamber members in the past as well. Lorne has over 30 years of experience in this domain, and he's really a great guy who has great ideas and is very helpful. So when we were talking about how we need to be able to offer information and input to our companies that is useful at this time, he stepped up and he said he'd be happy to come on and share his years of experience in helping companies in managing their online presence and devising strategy and helping them with their marketing strategy online. So we have him here, and we're delighted that he'll be sharing his years of experience with us. And as Marina mentioned, during his presentation, if there's any question that comes up, feel free to to put it on the chat box so that we can ask him that. This is our opportunity to learn from the expert, and we hope you make the most of it. So with that, I'm going to welcome Lorne and turn it over to him. Lorne.
Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, Rikesh, and thanks to the Chamber for hosting this event. First, I'd like to acknowledge that we have all been going through an unparalleled crisis, that's for sure. And it's caused tremendous hardship for both emotionally and financially. And many of us have had to adjust our workforces, our workplaces for that matter, take on unexpected debt, as Rikesh had mentioned earlier on, and put a hold on plans that we had for now and the future. We have also had to adjust to new ways of doing business, communicating with our staff, our vendors, and of course, our customers. Personally, I've been grateful for the tremendous outpouring of goodwill in our community, support from our government, and understanding by the stakeholders in our businesses. So why don't we start off by taking a look at some of the numbers. And I'm just going to share my screen. Okay. Hopefully you all see the WERCC logo in front of you. Based on sales and marketing data for more than 70,000 companies between January and March of this year, March being when the pandemic really swung into force, what we're seeing in terms of sales and marketing is very interesting. In terms of new deals, new sales, online activities in that nature, we're seeing that there's been a significant decrease in new deal volume globally. And that's pretty understandable. And if we look at North America, we're seeing that the trends are pretty much the same. Now, what's interesting though, and probably due to the fact that so many people are at home with more time on their hands, that the visits to sellers' websites has actually increased. As well, online chat on those websites is up, and the acquisition of new contacts is also increased. So what about emails? As it turns out, the volume of emails promoting a sales message, and this is probably no surprise to anybody, has significantly increased. But what really stands out is the sharp decrease in people actually opening those emails. On the other hand, though, the volume of emails promoting a marketing message, as opposed to trying to get sales right now, promoting a marketing message has also increased. But take a look at the open rates for this kind of message. They have jumped incredibly. So what are the key things the data indicates to me? Well, the increase in website traffic, buyer-initiated conversations, and marketing email open rates suggests that customers are still looking to engage with companies. However, the focus should probably be on education and not promotion. Instead of dialing up the promotion of your products and services during this crisis, which is an approach that may be insensitive to your customer base, focus on nurturing the long-term relationship. Identify where you can help your customers today without asking for anything in return. It seems to me that our chamber has been doing a good job of this. As much as I'm sure they would like to enroll new members, during this difficult time, they are providing tangible help and education, not only for chamber members, but for the entire business community. I just like to thank you, chamber staff. I think you're doing a really terrific job. So, if it's likely that your email box has been filled with invites to webinars, white papers, all aimed at providing insights, and the majority of these being of a, I would say, a defensive nature, and rightly so. We have to protect our businesses. And don't get me wrong, defense is very important. But today, I want to look at the offense and look at ways we can, that we can move that proverbial ball down the field by embracing the situation and adapting our strategies to leverage new opportunities. I would like to talk about sales and marketing in the shadow of the coronavirus. And it is my intention to give you 9 actionable items that we can bring immediate value, as well as position you for the realities of what's likely going to be the new normal that we will undoubtedly experience as the economy begins to recover. So, why don't we start with the playbook? The playbook has 3 important elements. The first is market positioning. This is the effort to identify your customer, the competition, and position your product or service for the best possible results. Positioning is very important. It's what sets you apart from everyone else. But in the shadow of coronavirus, it might also mean you need to pivot and point in a new direction. I have several clients who have introduced new products aimed specifically at the shortage for personal protection equipment. One's a toy distributor and now is importing gowns and gloves. I have a general contractor who's making safety shields. They've both leveraged their supply channels and sales connections and are helping address a very big need in our community. I have another friend with us today to share how the COVID-19 situation has caused him to have to pivot his business and how that pivot has actually created brand new potential. Let me ask Joseph Geraldo from Baker Tilly to take a few minutes and share his story.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Lauren. You're absolutely right. I mean, I was so, in terms of our business, and I'm from Baker Tilly Consulting, the way that we earn our customers' respect is by being in-house with them and making a true connection and listening to who they are and helping build their trust. And we needed to do that on site. And the very first session where we had a packed house of businesses flying in, we had to cancel on March 24th and switch and pivot. We also moved into this beautiful building on 325 Devonshire Road, and we had to move back home. And you know, a lot of the things we did is we prided ourselves on our building. And what's there, Lauren, I'm cool with that next slide and running that video. But this video here is me starting to set up my virtual office. Yes, that's stage lighting in the background, but we're just trying to get up there to sustain, because this is the moment we needed to care. The organizations that were coming to us were flying over because they needed help to strategize about their businesses. And this wasn't the time for us to hide in the shadows or make an excuse because of the global pandemic we were in. We needed to step up. And that's exactly what we needed to do. And we needed to own this platform. And how do you make it so that you can make true connections in a video environment and actually cause those great decisions to happen in a timely fashion? And we learned it was about setup and process and follow-up. And it's really pivoted our business. And we've now introduced Baker Tilly Live, which is now this video-based decision-making process that has completely pivoted our business and allowed us to connect with dozens of clients in a very short period of time. It is about embracing, and the stats aren't lying, as Lauren is sharing, but it is out there. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you, Joe. I really appreciate you sharing how your pivot has actually caused you some new opportunities, and rather than retreating, you're actually moving forward. And thank you for allowing WebGeeks to be a part of that story as well. So if positioning and being willing to pivot when necessary is the first priority, then purpose, understanding and communicating your purpose is the second. According to Simon Sinek, all companies can tell you what they do and even how they do it. But do you tell your customers why you do it? Successful purpose-led brands such as Lululemon, Lego, the Walt Disney Company, they see their customers as more than buyers. Their customers are active stakeholders who are investing their time, money, and attention into the brands that they love. Developing your brand story starts with understanding your purpose. And customers who share or can identify with your purpose become the heroes in your story. So build your brand narrative around why, around your purpose, and develop a brand that engages your ideal customer with your compelling story. Done properly, the first two elements will result in a brand book or a brand guide for understanding your customer and how to communicate effectively with them. The third element in your playbook is your marketing plan. A marketing plan clearly identifies your business and marketing goals and how you plan to achieve them. The plan will specify what technologies, messaging, and processes you will use. So let's take a look at getting the right equipment. When it comes to selecting your marketing tools and building out your digital platform, it can be pretty confusing. In fact, it can be very confusing, and it's not your fault. A recent study of the digital marketing landscape showed there is as many as 7,000 tools and apps used by marketers today. So where do you begin when it comes to optimizing your marketing stack? Well, I think you should start by answering some important questions. And it all starts with your customer. Who is my customer? Or better yet, where is my customer? How does my customer communicate? Or how does my customer want to be communicated with? What are my resources? How sophisticated am I? Or how sophisticated is my customer? And what is my budget? And can I walk before I run? If you took time to create your marketing plan and your brand guide, you will have the answers to these questions and more. For most organizations, the first platform they should address is their website. Whether your business comes from word of mouth or sophisticated marketing campaigns, eventually your customer will end up on your website. So with that said, your website should answer 3 questions. What is it that you do? How will it make my life better? And how can I get it from you? And this is where your brand guide should be able to inform you. Let's take a look at the WebGeeks website. What is it that we do? We get more volunteers or more customers or more donations or more members for our clients. How do we do that? Well, WebGeeks is a full-service digital marketing firm. With our brand machine marketing tool, we deliver better strategies for better results. And how can you get that from us? Schedule a free consultation. Let's take a look at another one. This is our HR company that we use at WebGeeks. What do? They provide HR, payroll, and benefits for growing teams. How does that benefit me? They have powerful tools, they're budget friendly, and they're people friendly. And how do I get a hold of those services? Book a demo. Let's look at one more. What do these folks do? The picture tells it all. They sell pretty cool glasses. How does that benefit me? Well, they're prescription glasses that start at only $150. And how do I get it? Well, I can shop for men or I can shop for women. So what's next in our stack? For some organizations, using social media seems pretty logical. But for other leaders, you may need to think about it a bit. The main reason for having a social presence is simple. You can find and communicate with customers on these platforms. So why use social? From gaining market insights to selling products and services, social media is an invaluable element for your marketing stack. So what social media platforms do we need to be on? Which ones should you be on? Well, I think the ones that target your customer is the best answer, and the ones that support your desired outcomes. Facebook is a great example of a branding platform. LinkedIn is great for business-to-business development, and Instagram is awesome for presenting your products. I know we have a lot of different types of businesses here, but if you're a B2B marketer, business to business, I recommend a very intentional use of LinkedIn and some of the other business directories. The reason for this is if your brand guide has helped you identify your ideal client, you can find them online and initiate direct communication with them through LinkedIn. Next on the marketing stack is Google My Business and the other business directories that are out there. If your business is a local business doing business with local clients, you want to be in the business directory listings. If you draw business from the local market, it's imperative to be positioned in local listings. Google for sure, but also Facebook, Yelp, and there's many others, including the directory with the chamber. From the unique combination of marketing tools, you'll be able to dictate from your brand guide and the marketing plan the other types of tools that ought to be added. Again, with more than 7,000 different marketing tools available, it's imperative to know your customer, know your goals, and optimize accordingly. The next piece of equipment that we need to get a hold of is our messaging and populating that message across the platforms that we've built. We can have the best tools, but if we don't engage our audience, then we're wasting money, and worse, we could be damaging our brand. Great storytelling should be based on a predictable and scalable framework. Don Miller from StoryBrand presents a framework that we like to use here at WebGeeks. Every story has a hero, and so does your brand story. In your case, however, you're not the hero. Your customer should be the hero. And your customer has a problem They can't solve themselves, which causes them to seek a guide or a helper. That's you. You can empathize with your customer situation. You have experience with it, and you have a plan of action to address their issues. Based on what you share with the hero, you're able to inspire him to take action. And if he does, there will be benefits that he gains and problems that he can avoid. So an example of this, and I'm picking on the chamber a little bit today, but is the chamber's own story. The hero in the chamber story is you and me, the business owner. And we have challenges. They could include growing visibility in our community, meeting potential influencers and new customers, or working towards some legislation or policy that supports my needs. The nice thing is the chamber, they understand that. They have staff that has worked in the business arena. They have worked with many business leaders like us, and they have years of experience, and they're part of a larger group of chambers. The plan they have is straightforward. Register and become a member. Attend networking events and workshops. Join a committee. Take advantage of their advertising opportunities and reach out to other members through the business directory. So what is it that you need to do? What's your call to action? Become a member. And if you do so, you gain immediate access to all the benefits, and you can avoid the time and cost trying to make these connections on your own. I'd just like to recommend a brand new book from Don Miller. It's called Marketing Made Simple, and it's brand new on the shelves on Amazon. Pick it up. It's an easy read, but it is tremendously impactful. It's important to realize that your customers are at different points in their buyer's journey, and you need to position your content using the right messaging at the right time and using the right platform. Again, this should be informed by your marketing plan and your brand guide. The final piece of equipment we should talk about is our sales or marketing process. We need to understand how the various tools and messages fit together, the order of things, and how we ensure our brand is positioned in the best light. Joel talked about taking the business home and setting up the stage. We highly recommend that whole approach. It's a little bit of an investment, but it pays off in spades. Here's an example of what happens when you don't do that. I think she didn't do any favors for her brand in using this tool, at least in this way. So it's important to map out your process. Then the tools and messaging can be designed to support the process. Keep the goals in mind and ensure the process leads to a successful outcome. So getting the right equipment is a huge priority in taking your sales and marketing on the offense. Humanize your brand, personalize your message, protect your brand, integrate and automate so you can focus more of your time on the high-value conversations. You have a solid playbook and you have all the equipment you need. So now it's time to run the plays and score some points. Let's start with creating visibility through the promotion of your brand. There are a lot of channels for your brand message, but let's start with Google and the Google search page. The top section of the page contains paid advertising. About 9% of page viewers may click on one of these ads. These folks are usually in the market for a product or service right now. They're looking for the availability of that product and if there's any deals. And the ads work really well for generating business now. With that said, not everyone is ready to buy now. So other sections of the search page help in different ways. The next section is the Google Map with the Google business listings. This is ideal for local businesses. It's often used by your customer to get directions or your phone number. They check reviews and hear what other people say about your brand. And the listings drive a lot of inquiries. There's no cost to be paid to Google on these listings, but the listings do need to be optimized to be effective. Google typically will show 3 of these listings before you have to hit the more button. It really helps to be one of those 3. Also take note how advertisers are aware of what is going on with their customers and keep their advertising messages relevant. The third section on the Google search result page contains organic search results. This is where people in research mode go. It has the highest viewership, and Google attempts to match the best content to the search term. It's about the relevancy of your content, the performance of your website, keyword optimization, and really engaging content. I should also point out that product marketers can take advantage of things like Google Shopping and the rich content that comes through YouTube videos. So to be successful in Google, it's pretty straightforward. Do what Google wants. Using pay-per-click management for optimizing the ads, using directory optimization or local search engine optimization for optimizing the maps, and using SEO or search engine optimization for optimizing the organic search results. Now, everybody talks about Google, but that's not the only thing we should talk about. There's other avenues that drive business besides Google. Look at local news or advertising sites, social media platforms, obviously, magazines with their digital presence, Kijiji, the Chamber website, and many others. In fact, there are many ways to advertise and promote online. With that said, there are 2 major approaches to consider: interruption marketing and inbound marketing. Interruption is when marketing messages interrupt someone's day-to-day activities. That's the spam emails, the broadcast advertising on television commercials, things like that, outdoor boards that you pass when you're driving. It's a shotgun approach. And typically the cost of customer acquisition is higher than inbound marketing. It is, however, very effective in generating a lot of brand awareness for your organization, your products, and your services. Now, on the other side is inbound marketing. And inbound marketing attempts to position marketing messages where the customer is actually looking for that product or service or for your organization. This is things like search engine optimization, the use of blogging, the use of posting social media content, and that type of thing. It's a targeted approach, and the customer acquisition costs are typically less than interruption marketing. So for that reason, these techniques have received a lot of attention over the past 5 years or so. However, I would like to suggest that for many of you, especially B2B organizations, using new AI-based technologies will allow you to use interruption marketing in a way that's actually highly targeted and cost-effective, and it can stimulate and support the inbound initiatives. When your stack is optimized and your promotion is effective, you'll be starting to get new customers. The customer procurement process also deserves to be optimized. And depending on the nature of your business, it will take on different forms of process and organization and active steps to connect with your audience. The last element I'd like to talk about, the final piece of the puzzle, is performance optimization. It's looking at the numbers. Digital marketing provides deep insights through data collection, analysis, and assessment. Data informs your marketing assumptions. Data realigns your beliefs and about your customer. And data allows you to rationally adjust your marketing plans. Just like a coach keeps stats on his players and adjusts the lineup, the training schedule, and even the position the player holds. Analysis allows you to optimize your marketing and sales efforts to get the best possible outcomes for your organization. So if you are in it to win, ensure that you have developed your playbook, you've purchased the right equipment, and you run the plays over and over again, adjusting when necessary. And if you do that, I'm confident you can put a lot of points on the board, even in the shadow of the coronavirus challenge. Oh yes, don't be afraid to hire a coach if you need it. And following this webinar, if you want to go to webgeeks.com/COVID-19, I think we'll post it. We're going to start providing free resources that should help you in your offensive efforts to march the ball down the field. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Lon. That was very informational. And also thanks for offering to share some resources on your website. We'll make sure that we have that information posted on our website, and we'll make sure that our members take benefit of that. So appreciate much the information you shared. Looking at if there's any specific question from our audience, and we'll wait for them to come up. But I do have few things that I would like to to find out and ask you.
Sure.
Especially when it comes to the small and medium-sized businesses. So there are businesses that have very little presence online, right? I mean, there are some businesses that are relatively new. They're building their business, might not have put a lot of effort in terms of building an online presence, or there may be some that may not have needed it in the pre-COVID-19 era, where there was, they were doing okay business. Now all of a sudden there's a need for them to, to really have an online presence. So what do you say to those companies that have very little online presence, or maybe no online presence? How do they go about building their brand? How do they go about, coming up with a strategy for digital marketing?
Mm-hmm. Thank you for asking that. One of the interesting things about the Windsor-Essex market, unlike Toronto or some of the bigger centers, is as a marketing company, we really can't focus on just large companies or medium companies or small companies. We have to be an organization that's prepared to help companies of all sizes. And as such, we do deal with a lot of smaller clients, startup organizations, that type of thing. And budgets are an issue, experience is an issue, time is a big issue. So I think this is an example where you walk before you run. You don't try and bite off everything. You need to, I really think as a first step, you really do need to have a website of some sort. Now, some websites obviously are very large and contain a lot of information, a lot of stuff. But even a one-page website that's attractive, gets your brand message across, is a great place to start. And that doesn't have to be expensive. There's some tools that you can do online yourself, or you can use an agency to help you get that up and going. Secondly, if I was to pick one other tactic right off the bat, it would be for the local business doing business locally would be to get my business directory, Google Business Directory listing properly optimized, because that shows up in the Google searches. And when they look for your organization, it will show up with your phone number, your ads. And we work with a lot of smaller companies that tool alone drives a tremendous amount of business to them.
Thanks. And you talked about budget, right? Many small businesses, they're struggling, and more so during these times. There's often a question in terms of how much do you invest in your core business versus how much do you invest on the marketing side and in business growth side. So what do you suggest? What's the recommendation in terms of what percentage of their revenue or sales should be assigned towards marketing efforts, especially digital marketing efforts, one? And secondly, how does one really, find out whether this is working for them? What's the way to analyze it, and what's the return on investment?
Good, thank you. That's a big question, and it has a lot of factors, but the industry experts, they tell us that a company ought to be investing 5 to 15% of their revenue into marketing. Now, with digital marketing taking such an important role in that, obviously a fairly large percentage of that overall budget should probably be aimed towards digital marketing activities. Now, a business is at a different point in its life cycle too. A very well-established brand may very well be able to use a smaller percentage of their revenue towards generating new business because they're already really established, especially in the local market. A startup company may do the total opposite. They may put in 25 or 30% of revenue, or they may not even have revenue yet, and they're having to invest into the program just to get visibility. But I think you want to be a little bit conservative, a little bit careful, but you still want to go for the business. So in that 10-15% is probably a very appropriate place to think. In terms of, is it working for me? I think you have to take it back to how you're measuring your result. So if I'm an online retailer, I can measure my result based on sales through my website. So if I invest $1 in a Google ad and that results in $10 of profit from something I sold, then I know I have a 10-to-1 ratio. That's probably a pretty good result. If I'm a business-to-business client, it might be a little tougher to actually draw that correlation from a sale, but you could establish a value to a new prospect and the probability of that lead becoming a customer. And I think it's very important then to take that value you associate with it and measure it against the cost, and again, find a comfortable margin that's in there. The nice thing about digital marketing is there's a tremendous suite of tools that will allow you to measure the results, show you what's working, what's not working. And if you measure that then against your business goals and priorities, then you can really determine if this is a program that's bringing you benefit or if it needs to be adjusted.
Mm-hmm. Question is on Google listing. How do you optimize your business listing so that it is always in the top 3?
Okay, so any agency that says they can get you to first place in Google or in the top 3 or whatnot, Google says right on their website, run away from them. They have no control over it. But you can certainly influence that. And some of the things that influence it are thinking about the user. Google's always trying to give the best experience to the people that use Google. So if you can help Google achieve that, you're well on your way. So what is that? Make sure that your name, address, and phone number, they call it the NAP, is on that directory listing in the same way it's on all the other directory listings and on your websites. Create continuity between how you represent your contact information. Secondly, you have the ability to categorize your business against other business categories. So take advantage of that and use multiple categories if your business indeed serves multiple needs. Thirdly, make sure all the fields in the Google listing are filled out. They want descriptions about your business, your opening, closing hours. Do you take credit cards and payment methods, that type of thing. You now have the ability to even take articles and post them right to your directory listing, which gives them more content and allows Google to say, hey, these guys are fairly meaty. And then the other thing that we've seen that's really helpful is pictures. Most people ignore the fact that they can put on lots of pictures, and people love to go through pictures. We have clients whose interactions through the business listing have skyrocketed just because people have started scrolling through their pictures. So there's a variety of things that can be done. Most people who go to a Google listing to check out a business make a purchase within 24 hours. And a high percentage use that listing to click on the phone number to get a hold of that business right from the listing.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The other question we have is, if I need immediate results, where is my best place to start?
I start right where your customer is. So if I have a product or a service that's aimed at teens and is a highly visible product, I think I would be quick to get into Instagram. If I'm a business client and I know who my customers are, I can go to LinkedIn and I can find them and I can initiate a conversation with them. If I know the customers are out there, but I don't know exactly who they are, I can use Google Ads to blast my message out. This is highly effective especially for seasonal companies. We've worked with a lot of heating and cooling companies over the years. There's 2 times a year that people really are interested in what they have to offer. The spring, when they turn the air conditioner on and it fails to work, and in the fall, when they turn the furnace on and it fails to work. So you can use Google Ads, target them for a time period, blast them into a particular region, and really create visibility. And then when that season's kind of waning or the interest isn't quite there, turn the ad off. Don't spend the money. And then for our kind of company, there's a lot of people who want to do research first. And so we've invested pretty heavily into our search engine optimization because we know people want to find us, read about us, try and figure out if we know what we're talking about, that type of thing. And then they'll go and try and connect with us. So for us, we felt search engine optimization gave them the best bang for the buck.
Mm-hmm. And there's a question on search engine optimization. What's the best way to optimize keyword search terms, and is there a good app for that?
Yeah, keyword optimization. So it's actually pretty simple, and I don't want to give away all our magic, but I will. First of all, who are you? Where do you operate? What products do you sell? What services do you sell? What brands do you represent? How do your customers understand what you sell? Make a list of those kinds of words. If you're a local business, include the locality of where you're working. So for example, search engine optimization Windsor is a good search word for us. Then what you do, either your agency can do it for you or you can do some of your own research. Google AdWords has a keyword planner tool. You can put these combination of words into Google. You can look at what Google says people are actually searching for. They're going to tell you average volume of searches per month. They're going to tell you how much competition there is for that keyword. And what you do is you say, oh, I really think this is a great keyword, but then you verify it, see if anybody's even looking for it. Because there's no sense optimizing either your ads or your organic efforts around keywords nobody's looking for. And then you try and determine on a competitive level a budget that makes sense for you to work with. And then you just walk before you run, you work the campaign, and you'll see what things are working and not working, and you will elevate the effectiveness of the keyword optimization.
Thanks, Lorne. And you know, in our region, there is a lot of conventional companies, you know, manufacturing companies, if I can call them conventional. And there's often a belief, you know, that some of our traditional companies have that digital marketing, you know, having a web presence, SEOs, and all of that is for the newer companies, you know, the companies that are in, you know, tech companies. and it's not really for them. But business is changing, and in all businesses of all different sizes and shapes and different sectors can benefit from that. So what suggestion do you have for companies that come from traditional background where they might not have in the past used any of these tools, and how do they transition to to the digital world?
Thank you. That is a really terrific question, and it's an area that we've really tried to hone in on. We've worked over the years with a lot of manufacturers, distributors, and especially in the industrial sector. So the makeup of manufacturing in the Windsor area is kind of a bailiwick for us. Excuse me. Here's what I've learned. In this type of industry, relationships exist. You already have customers in place and whatnot. And so the prevailing wisdom is what you've identified. Why do I need that if I already have those relationships? Well, there's a couple things that come to mind. One, some of the customers want to actually expand their markets, go into areas that they're not familiar with. So digital marketing is a way forward that way. Secondly, surprisingly, a lot of our clients in this sector aren't interested so much in marketing for new clients, but they have skill sets that they need to fill. And so demonstrating a corporate culture through social media, through the different activities, and using digital to attract that new quality employee has become very important. But thirdly, the other thing that has changed is the people in your customer base are changing. You used to work with this buyer, now you're working with this kid out of university that doesn't know you. Yes, you have a relationship with the company, but you don't have a relationship with them. And so digital marketing, especially in that sector using LinkedIn and some of those services, really allow you to build those relationships and strengthen your position and foothold, and to grow new business with those customers. The other thing I would like to say is we have worked with some clients that also have to demonstrate their good community citizenship in the markets that they're serving. For example, we worked with a company in the oil patch industry, and although they dealt with Houston for big buying decisions, it was important for them in their local market in South Dakota or North Dakota to show that this company was a great company, because that's where the employees of this particular oil company worked. So they did things like sponsoring the hockey teams, getting in the magazines, doing some search engine optimization, doing some social media, and these types of things to enhance their corporate image in the market that they were serving.
Thank you, Lon. I think we've got only a couple more minutes left. So I want to thank you and Joe for coming on today and sharing some very valuable tips and walking us through the process of really digitization and having a very effective marketing strategy. So we appreciate you, the time you've taken, and the information that you shared here, but also the information that you'll share on your website, which will be useful for our companies. So I encourage listeners today, to go to our website, where you'll find the recording of today's webinar, in case you've missed some part of it, or in case you want to listen to it again, or pass it on to someone that would benefit from it. There's also on the chat box, there was information on the resource that Lon was going to have make available on his website. So we'll make sure that that is on our website as well. And also please make sure that you have our information and the most updated information on the webinars available to you, and you're accessing that. The next one that we're doing is with KPMG, and this is about how do we really turn things around? What's the recovery path? This is going to be a really interesting one. As you know, that countries around the world are now looking at bringing their economy back online, because we cannot be in this mode of lockdown and social distancing forever. Though maybe this is not the time for us to ease any of the restrictions, but we as a business community need to think about what are the next steps? How do we really plan to get ourselves back to some kind of a normalcy, to bring our businesses back online? And that's a very important conversation that needs to happen. And governments around the world are battling with that, are challenging themselves in terms of what's the best way to move forward. At the chamber, we ourselves are having these conversations with our partners, with our network, be it provincially or be it nationally. And we are very interested in hearing from you in terms of what do you think? What do you suggest should be the way forward? How can your business slowly but surely, come back online? And what are some of the things that you would like to see in terms of support so that the economy can be back on its track? All of these are very important, and all of these issues need to be handled very carefully as we bring economy back online. Hence, it's important for us to take these inputs from you, to listen to them, and also to pass it on to people that are making decisions. So please continue your communication with us. Please continue to send your questions, your suggestions, your inputs to us. These are very valuable. We make sure that the inputs you provide and the issues that you're raising and have raised in the past, we continue to offer it and provide it to the decision makers and get some resolution on that. So once again, thank you. I hope you enjoyed today's session. Hope you benefited from it. The recording, as I mentioned, will be there on our website soon. And we'll see you on Wednesday. If you've not registered, the registration is still open. So please make sure you register at the earliest. And with that, I wish you all a very pleasant afternoon. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.